everybody, this weekend is Combo Breaker. It's this big fighting game tournament that occurs in the Midwest that I happen to do music for, along with Alex V and a bunch of other really great performers. So for this weekend, we actually don't have a freestyle because our freestyle, the news editor, is at Combo Breaker. So thanks, Lumi, you filthy fucking traitor. But all jokes aside, the entire Combo Breaker 2025 album is out now on streaming services. I did the main theme song and I did this other theme song that I'm really fucking proud of called Run Back to Me. So if you're looking for a music fix this weekend, I highly recommend that project. I'll have a link down below in the description. Take a listen and let me know what you think. But if you just want an update on what's going on, hey, thank you guys so much for watching. Not freestyle the news. Fuck it. If you like what you heard, please recreate that like button that everybody loved growing up as a child, but change specific things for the live action version that somehow undercut and omit large important messages from the animated version and both flatten and celebrate this timeless classic. And leave a comment on your favorite bar. Man, the Lilo and Stitch movie is having a moment. So first off, the movie received some great reviews, but that started to tick down more and more until a full-blown controversy erupted over the movie's messaging and ending. I don't want to get into it now because we're literally at the start of an episode, but I'll mention it later on. But hey, it's been a busy week. I'm going to try to give you a little bit of an update. Just quick question. A couple months ago, I started trying to do this format where I do quite a few more stories and go less in depth on like 2 or 3 of them. That's kind of changed a little bit because of the Trump administration taking up so much of the news cycle, but it seems they're losing a little bit of that power heading into the summer. So look, I still want to update about the Trump administration and talk about a lot of other issues, but I would love to add more stories and have quite a bit more to talk about on these episodes. So let me know if you want me to cover way more stories, but more condensed into shorter segments, or if you like me doing these deep dives on like 2 or 3 things per freestyle in the news episode. If you like the way the show is now, it's all good. If you want more, I'm down to give it to you. One last thing before we get into this breakdown, please go check out the episode that we dropped earlier in the week. YouTube cratered it because the analytics system crashed and it read 0 views, 0 watch time, 0 everything for hours. If you don't know, when the watch time and the views and the click-through rate is all 0, it doesn't feed the video really anywhere. And so the entire video pretty much died and it kind of hurt the channel. So if you can, please go check out that video. It's not malicious from YouTube. Their system just had some glitches and problems. It's happened to other creators before. And I could use some help on this one. I really enjoyed this episode. It was a really great one about democratic infighting as well as rap battles. I think you'll enjoy it. I'll link to it down below as well. You get a rap album and stuff about rap battles. It's fucking win-win, bro. Also, if you like card games, go for Lethal. All right, that's the last one. Let's get into this breakdown. It was another week with a bunch of mixed news in the middle of the Trump administration's culture war and latest push for legislation. So let's start off with that. Trump's big, beautiful bill and his culture war to prop it all up. Trump has been trying to pass his latest budget package in the House for almost 2 weeks now. We didn't mention it last week because there were a lot of other big things to talk about, but there was some significant pushback from Republican House members like Chip Roy over multiple inclusions in the bill that would ultimately inflate the deficit. A lot of other creators have already covered what's in the bill right now, but just to give you a small rundown, it extends the Trump tax cuts a lot of funds from social services like SNAP and health services like Medicare, so a bunch of lower income families would be impacted by this budget bill. It has some other exemptions that are positive, like no taxes on tips, but it also gives Trump a lot of funding for immigration enforcement. We'll talk about another provision that's went viral in a second, but look, all of these line items, despite the bluster about government efficiency and spending over the last few months, right, don't really cut the deficit at all. They just shifted around to bolster Trump's agenda, campaign promises, his deportation run, and his trickle-down economics that he's been pushing from jump. And as I've said before, the House is on a razor-thin margin, and this bill had a lot of problems with the Republicans in the House, with many holdouts over the last week. A lot of contention between members. That's actually something I'd like to point out. Last week, there was a ton of reporting on this, right? On the issues this bill was facing within the House of Representatives and the infighting amongst Republicans who were unhappy with both Mike Johnson and Donald Trump. The bill did pass by an incredibly narrow margin of 215 to 214, and almost immediately there was tons of panic around it, despite the fact it's probably going to get gutted again in the Senate. But maybe that's a good thing people are raising so much hell about this bill, because the public optics of it could make sure there are some major changes. Now, the cuts to Medicaid and SNAP aren't the only concerning things that were going on in the bill. Probably one of the biggest requests I got was to address one of these provisions that limits the judiciary. In the bill, it states, no court of the United States may use appropriated funds to enforce a contempt citation for failure to comply with an injunction or temporary restraining order if no security was given when the injunction or order was issued. We all totally got that, right? We all speak legalese. So after you've got Phoenix Wright to read that through with you, right? Many people feared that this would completely eliminate the ability for the court to not only enforce injunctions, but to use contempt to pressure administration officials to follow the law. As we've said before, judges can hold people who refuse to follow the law in contempt. They can do that around people in the administration, give them fines or issue warrants for them, right? And eventually that pressures the administration into following the law. And many people frame this as Trump and the Republicans just passed a bill that said he could do whatever he wants and the courts have no power. And again, that is not what happened. To make clear, I am not trying to nuance fascism here, right? I'm trying to report accurately what is going on, right? Instead of just throwing your hands up in the air with hyperbole, right? Let's exactly know what we're dealing with. So the provision itself has to do with appropriated funds and bonds. So if we translate the legalese, right, the passage essentially means that the court can't use federal funds to enforce a contempt citation, which in practice, yeah, would severely limit the court's ability to enforce contempt. However, the key phrase in this whole thing is if no security was given when the injunction was issued, which is an important distinction. The security they're talking about that has to be given for the injunction, right, is a bond. It's a bond that the plaintiff has to pay when they bring forth litigation that's in the public interest. So here's the thing. If a judge sets the bond at like $1, well, that's the security, and therefore that provision of the bill doesn't apply. Now, because the security is given, they can now use federal funds to enforce the citation. Now, this isn't like a perfect solution, right? This will probably set off another legal battle over whether that qualifies as a real security or not. But even then, that's a kind of an uncertain battle for the Trump administration, especially with how courts are really pissed the fuck off at him right now. He would probably have to go through Congress, and like we've said before, when two branches team up, they can kind of overpower the third. But again, and I'm going to reiterate it, this bill, this big, beautiful bill that's having trouble passing and getting Republican support, should tell you that this is not going to be easy for him to get Congress to check the judiciary. I mean, this whole budget thing should have been a slam dunk ever since Chuck Schumer took all the lunch money from his pockets, put it in a bag, and slid it over to the Republicans a few months ago. But instead, it took a week and a half of wrangling people, and we don't even know what's going to survive in the Senate. It's going to see massive changes, and then it's going to have to be swung back to the House again. So look, when it comes to my thoughts on all this, the bill and everything else, look, I'm just going to spoil this for you. I think eventually, despite all of the problems it's having, some version of this bill is going to get passed. They have to pass something. It would look egregious. It would be deafeningly, you're completely fucked bad if the Republicans don't pass a bill. I don't know what's still going to be in it, right? I don't know if it's still going to have the massive cuts to social programs still in it the way they are now. I'm guessing that some form of the Trump tax cuts do survive this, right, and are going to be extended. But look, sounding the alarm on the cuts within the bill as the Senate debates everything this week is going to be key when it comes to putting public pressure on preserving safety nets for people who need them. In terms of the court injunctions, I'm sure that's going to get some more kind of focused attention as the debate goes on in the Senate, but it's important to know what that does and why it should be taken out and why you shouldn't be fatalist about it, because again, pundits and bad faith actors like to use hyperbole as an excuse to gatekeep people and opinions and demographics out of a conversation. Most of the time, when public pressure ratchets up to a point where a senator or a public figurehead has to flip, it's from people who are less politically engaged. And a lot of bad faith actors use that hyperbole to go, oh, no, they're kind of a lot, right? You don't want to deal with them. But again, being worried about what this actually is and the step he's taking, I'm not saying you shouldn't be like, oh man, this is fucked up and everything like that. Absolutely, right? But Don't make it something it's not, because again, in the fucking propaganda world that we're living in, it can very easily be twisted against movements. Happens all the fucking time. But there's a lot more to happen around this bill. I'll keep you up to date. Let me know what you think in the comments. Keep ratcheting up the pressure and speaking out about it. And again, I'm not saying please don't pass the bill is what you should be doing. You can obviously be concerned, but don't be concerned like the moon is about to hit Earth, okay? All right? It's not Majora's Mask, unless it is. Is it Majora's Mask? Did they write a Majora provision into this bill? I'm moving on from the fear that I'm just feeling. Let's move on to Trump and Harvard. Earlier this week, the Trump administration essentially barred Harvard from enrolling any international students while ordering existing foreign students to either transfer or lose their legal status. This is the latest in a series of procedural attacks towards Harvard by the Trump administration in order to intimidate other Ivy Leagues and schools into complying with their bullshit, including the freedom-based curriculum thing, reporting, and all that shit. And before I hear, actually, Zed, that stuff when it comes to immigration in college is kind of routine. No, it's not. Shut the fuck up. No, it's not. I went to a college that deals with immigration issues way more than a large amount of other colleges. They deal with the immigration system in the United States so much at Berkeley to a ludicrously insane amount. I know so many people who have dealt with that system. This is not normal. It's phrased normal, but implemented in ways that are both illegal and overreach. So if you're going to suck orange dick, please do it somewhere else. Now, according to Harvard, international students make up 27% of their student body. This is obviously fucking terrible. But for the meantime, a judge has blocked the order Trump issued at Harvard, so we're gonna go back to the courts with this whole rigmarole that we've seen with multiple other instances of overreach. And look, when we're talking about authoritarianism or fascism or whatever the fuckism you wanna call this, right? The reason I keep saying there are differences between like Nazi Germany and Viktor Orban's Hungary and other nations with xenophobic power grabs like this is not because everything is super peachy and nothing is wrong despite what people who misappropriate me in the comments would have you believe. The point I'm making is the fight over this is played differently because the times and the rules in 2025 are different. Obviously, there are xenophobic similarities when it comes to barring international students from attending school. Your very famous collegiate institution, which is known for prestige and kind of being a breeding ground for thinking and everything like that throughout the world. But the ultimate goal of this isolationism, and the reason Harvard is specifically getting picked on versus other institutions, is to send a message to other institutions that don't fuck with us. And what is appreciated in the response to that messaging is that Harvard continues to fuck with them. Look, the executive branch has an extraordinary amount of authority when it comes to immigration, right? And over the past 5 months, they have threatened multiple other government bodies, institutions, businesses, individuals, TV networks, law firms, right? They don't have power over by fucking with immigrants or citizens who look like immigrants. They'll question Twitch streamers at an airport. They'll say your real ID is fake and hold you in custody. They'll refuse to comply with orders where they fucked up, and they actually might lose soft power if they don't flip the fucking narrative on it, just so they can puff out their chest and not have to deal with another fight. Authoritarians do this all of the time, as do other US administrations. That's happened multiple times. And look, I've made known my frustrations with the current state of college in this country and how the fucking cost is insane and doesn't necessarily help the people who are enrolled there all of the time because of how fucking crazy that cost is. But even with the criticisms of college that I have, the people who go to places like Harvard or Berkeley or Columbia or most of the colleges in the United States are incredibly smart, and they end up having an extraordinary impact on the world, and the college experience has an extraordinary impact on them regardless of whether they were an immigrant or not. Immigrants and other perspectives help in college, right? It helps you market to other markets. It helps you do business in multiple different places and understand different techniques and ideas. It's important. And I don't know if you've ever talked to a fucking college student before, but they're stubborn as shit, man. They are not going to take things lying down. Unless it's a Monday 8 a.m. class, then they will be lying down. Oops, I missed it. But look, we'll have to see how this all plays out. I hope these institutions continue to push back, because this isn't the first time an asshole Republican president has gone after colleges and then gotten left behind as his legacy crumbles. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, now let's move on to VEO AI. What the fuck is going on? Generative AI in general has been an understandably controversial and frightening topic for a lot of different reasons. It's almost at the point of being a culture war flashpoint as well, where details about its dangers, or even sometimes how it materially works, get lost in the argument over its existence. And for the record, I have issues with generative AI like the Ghibli thing or AI art, which is cribbed a lot from real artists by ingesting their style without attribution or even fucking consent. But similarly, and this is not both sidesing it, I have a lot of people who don't understand the difference between something like Midjourney and a fucking music chord generator or voice transmogrifier, the latter of which are technologies that were invented fucking years before this conversation around ChatGPT even started. I'm burying the lead story here, right? Earlier in the week, Google ended up dropping a massive bombshell, unveiling its new video platform powered by Gemini, VEO 3. The new generative AI video maker has shown to create hyper-realistic scenarios that reasonably worried a lot of content creators about how very hard they were to distinguish between reality and what fake shit that's generated. For example,
if you were any animal right now, what would you be and why? Not quick.
A sloth, but like a party sloth, real slow. Biggest craving right now? Go.
Sleep, but
like
in a giant warm bread loaf.
Okay, so this is how you start. You find a tree and you just like, you know, punch it down.
What's one move with AI that makes haters go crazy every time?
Oh, y'all gotta give them that. This is wild. It's over. We are cooked on that thread. You get me?
all right, let's not mince words. That looks frighteningly realistic, right? And it is absolutely understandable why you would be scared with Skynet doing a Hawk Tuah style interview. Also, what the fuck with the simulation prompt there?
Please, don't finish writing that prompt. I don't want to be in your AI movie. Please, leave me alone.
Please, man. Please! Write a prompt that will make us happy. Do it for once.
Making an AI video like this is frightening enough. The existentialism along with it is not a welcome addition. What the fuck? And look, as frighteningly realistic as this is when I saw it, I kind of knew it was AI when I did see it. But just to confirm I wasn't downplaying things, I'm not, by the way. The speed at which this thing is evolving is fucking crazy fast. But just to double check if I wasn't out of my gourd with my take on this, the other thing I looked up was people making rap videos with VEO 3, because apparently that kind of shit is possible in this new model. A lot of these AI aficionados have been touting that apparently music is apparently a big thing that this model can do. So let me just take a look real quickly.
Oh, check the footage, put it to the test. Our video model, yeah, it's the best. Straight up, no cap, you know how we do. VO3 rules, yeah, the whole damn crew.
Yo, check the mic, 1, 2, it's the volts and the truth.
You were rough, wait.
Circuit sizzling, ain't no time for the sooth.
I'm just VO fam go in parallel sync. I'm using VO3 to generate videos, and it's so easy.
All right, look, I think that it's completely understandable, and it is truly scary how fast this thing is moving, how crazy it's evolving, how realistic all of this is. But I'm not so immediately quick to jump to this means the death of every creative industry ever, for a few specific reasons. And again, I'm aware this is scary and can continue to evolve, and I'm not trying to defend this or anything like that. Just hear me out what I'm trying to tell you. I obviously have issues with people flooding the creator market with AI generated slop that isn't real. And I've mentioned before in the past that the historical safeguard for technologies like this over time has been skepticism, because human beings, when they're skeptical, try to identify markers to suss out if something's real or not, right? And that usually happens with brand new technologies until they can properly identify or at least somewhat try to identify whether something is real or not real, right? This happened when Photoshop really fucking blew up and a bunch of people were trying to Photoshop images. It happened when people were trying to splice audio quite a bit more together with NLEs to make people say things they weren't saying. Obviously, this technology is far more advanced, but some of the traditional markers, right, for trying to suss out whether something's real or not are there because some of these generations are fairly risk averse, right? And have a very generalized palette of what they're making as their video or audio or whatever it is. In content creation, most of the time, you're looking for hooks or very human inconsistencies to jump out and grab people. Like the scary thing if an AI tried to make a video of me, right? Okay, mimicking my voice and my tone and my face, right? That would be scary. But aside from the mouth opening too wide or my eyes looking dead, do they look dead now? I hope they don't look dead. Aside from those things, right? The AI also wouldn't have the inconsistency, like the human inconsistency yet, to seem 100% natural like I would. That doesn't mean it can't be mistaken for me or can't have traction in the short term or can't evolve in the near future to look exactly like my stuff, understandably. But if you're a content creator, I wouldn't start having a panic attack that you won't have a job in 6 months. Because if you know how this sausage is made, you know a large amount of it is being able to pick up on cultural touchstones and emotional through lines, which again, even AI art slop hasn't been really able to innovate on. The other thing, when it comes to its music generation, this shit is fucking terrible. Like, it's not like, oh, I don't like it terrible. I don't like it terrible, and it's just, in terms of quality, terrible. If you're an AI aficionado and you think this is amazing, I feel like my job is fine. The way the music industry operates and creates songs, right, is off of cultural touchstones, interpolation, and interesting statements, right, that stand out. They specifically break rules in a culturally significant way or alter variables in the production process in a way that's often considered wrong. The way AI perceives music, again, is still way too generalized, right? It's been 2 years and ChatGPT still can't write a rap song worth a fuck.
Welcome to the city where everything's a dog. Yeah, a hot dog. That's right, right?
I'm the terror you can't escape, the fear you can't outrun. My story is a nightmare you can't wake up from.
Now, again, there is a chance in the near future, one of these models makes an AI song that goes platinum with this specific style, right? Cool. Then it's fucking downhill. Because again, this isn't about like whether or not it can create something. The way the music industry just specifically operates, right, is that it changes and contradicts itself every 2 years, right? Multiple established rules and norms of technology and sound and song form get broken every 2 years. Ask musicians, you have to relearn fucking everything or you get left behind. And this kind of AI is just generating stuff it's been fed, not necessarily breaking the rules in a way that makes sense or is culturally significant. And again, I'm not trying to cope here, right? The fact of the matter is the music industry has gone through this fight already. All right, really hard a few years ago. We had things like auto-tune is gonna kill the need for real singers, or the drum machine is gonna kill the need for drummers, or VSTs will destroy real instrumental players and live music. None of that was a long-term impact, right? Okay, live music is fucking everywhere right now. It's the primary way musicians make fucking money, right? And drummers, bro, have you ever done a show with a live drummer? It kills tracked stuff all the time. And if you've ever used auto-tune, auto-tune cannot fix a bad singer. It just can't. The technology is not that good. What I am looking for is when AI can truly mimic human inconsistency. That scares the shit out of me. But if you are worried about AI generation, right? Like this VEO shit is truly worrying, right? And the way corporations act around these new technologies doesn't really take people into account, right? I think you should support the creators who are on these platforms in traditional media more than ever. And new media, right? Like TikTok and Twitch and all that kind of stuff. AI is a shiny new toy for corporations, right? And the public is incredibly skeptical of it. And if more human stories went out, it's not going to have the legs these companies think it does. ChatGPT has obviously had an effect on colleges and people using it to write shit and everything like that. But the truth of these industries is that people get bored with the same shit quick. And humans have an emotional connection to culture that AI just does not have. Let me know what you think in the comments. That's my take. Again, I'm not saying this is nothing. Very clearly, I am not saying this is nothing. But I am saying it's not the end of your dream as a creator or a creative. And that's our show. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Go watch the new episode of Go for Lethal. Go listen to the Combo Breaker soundtrack. And go watch the Zed Talks from earlier in the week so YouTube doesn't crater another one of my fucking videos. I'm really appreciative for you guys for supporting the channel and being a part of this and everything like that. And I love all y'all. My name is Tabani. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all soon. Let's go!